Hey guys, welcome back. Just going to run the intro real quick, and then we will get started. Give me 1 second. I haven't done this in a while, uh, so give me 1 sec. Here we go. Yeah. Sorry. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Okay, it looks like okay. So it looks like StreamYard made it to where even on the free plan, you can't actually play any sort of like overlaid video like I used to be able to. But anyway, welcome guys. It's definitely been a minute since I've done a grill stream. Um, Hello to viewers. Welcome OC's viewers. But anyway, yeah, I couldn't get the intro to work unfortunately, but hey, that's all right. No worries. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've streamed here, so I'll talk a little bit about, I guess, where I've been and all that. But first, what I want to do is actually just kind of give you the spread of what we're doing today, what we're going to be making. So I am going to back triple. So anyway, we're doing a sort of it's sort of a Greek, but it's also sort of just like a Middle Eastern just chicken kebab wrap type of thing. So this is the actual chicken, right? So we have chicken breast here, but it's been marinated in some yogurt as well as a bunch of spices like sumac, za'atar, Aleppo pepper. There's a lot of lemon in here, cumin, pepper, all kinds of things, right? Salt. But anyway, so we will actually cook these in a little bit. I'm actually going to put these away just so that like I don't want them to stay out for too long necessarily. But anyway, uh, basically what we'll be doing first is actually making a bunch of the sauces. So what I want to do first, I'm going to put this chicken back inside, and just back into the fridge real quick, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys. So first things first, what we need to do is we're actually going to be making two different kinds of sauces, right? So in a traditional Greek culture, again, the sort of tzatziki sauce like is very sort of a traditional. It's sort of a yogurt and and garlic type of sauce that it's great for dipping, but you can also you know have it over the top of any kind of meat or whatever, right? But then the other thing we're going to do that's I guess not as traditional. This is more of like a Middle East sort of Lebanon, even like Northern Africa type of thing. But it's basically a sort of a harissa yogurt type of paste, sauce type of thing. So I have two different things of my yogurt here. And the first thing we're going to do is actually make the tzatziki sauce. Um, so what we'll do, and again, I have a bunch of stuff over here. Um, I have two cucumbers down here at the bottom, and one of them here we're going to be using in the sauce itself. And what I'll do, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera orientation so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Um, anyway, so what we'll be doing first is, let me make sure that I remember. This is the zucchini, and this is the cucumber, and they look incredibly similar. So I have to be careful there. But anyway, we want to cut off the ends first. And while I kind of go through this first part here, I'll kind of explain, I guess, where I've been lately. Um, so I haven't really done a grill stream in quite some time, mostly because it's just been really, really hot. And as you guys know, I like to do these outside. Um, I like to do them, with the grill. Obviously, there's good lighting out here. Um, could I have made some stuff, inside? Uh, inside the kitchen? Yeah, I could have, but I just don't think it's all that. Um, it doesn't really beat the experience out here. Kind of in the sun and all that. Um, so anyway, we have our cucumber here. And I'm just going to kind of start building a scraps pile over here. We will dispose of that later. But what we want to do now is actually grate this cucumber here. So what we want to do is this will basically make up a good portion of the sauce, and it provides for like that tanginess, and there's chunks of this too. It's not going to be pulverized to nothing, but there will be chunks of cucumber in here. Um, could you, cut this in half, like and de-seed it and whatnot? Yeah, you could. Um, but I think that's just a little bit more effort, to be honest. Um, anyway, so we have our cucumber now, and it actually includes some of that too. What you traditionally want to do in this, you would normally just go ahead and put all of this into a cheesecloth or like a towel, um, and you would then strain all the juice out. And actually, you know what? One thing I just realized, I kind of need to do this a little bit backwards here. What we're going to do, we're actually just going to go ahead and take the bowl and we're going to put all this in here. Um, and the one thing I didn't bring out here is some salt. So again, this is what we have, so like a grated cucumber. We want to basically draw out all the moisture in this cucumber. So we're actually going to let this sit for just like a few minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and we're basically going to allow the salt to draw out all the moisture, or not all the moisture, but at least most of it. And then at that point, we can incorporate that into the actual Greek yogurt here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back inside real quick, grab the salt, and then I'll rejoin. So I have my salt here. And it's okay if you have, a decent amount here. Again, the idea is the salt is going to draw out the moisture. One other thing I'm going to add to this here at this stage is just a little bit of white vinegar. Um, so in Greek culture, it's a little bit more traditional to use some kind of white vinegar versus lemon here, but they basically serve the same purpose. So anyway, we're going to leave that as is. And we'll come back to that here in a moment. But let's clean our board here, because there's quite a bit of chopping that's going to be going on today. Actually, I can make this into sort of a makeshift spot where we'll put our scraps. Yeah, that's good. Do we have anybody in the chat? Is anybody watching? We do have one person watching. Welcome. So do we have anybody? Whoops. Sorry, I need to point the camera this way just for a second. Yeah, I accidentally did a did some kind of like promotional thing there. Sorry, guys. Um, but anyway, let's go back to this view here. Can you guys see that all right? Yep. So if you're watching, leave a comment for sure, because I would like to know who is watching still. One thing I didn't do is actually I didn't drop the link in any of the WhatsApp chats. So I might go ahead and do that real quick. Let's see. Uh, Man, it's been some time since I've streamed, guys. So all of this is very rusty to me, and they've changed the layout too quite a bit, actually. Um, Actually, maybe it's guests. Yeah, let's see, guests. No, they don't have the link in there either. Okay, you know what? Oh, okay, invite guests. Here we go. Well, that's invite guests to the studio. I don't necessarily want people on with me. Um, anyway, you know what? OC, if you're watching, I guess you could drop a link, in like the WhatsApp groups or whatever. But um, anyway, let's go ahead and keep moving here while we have a moment. Something else we're going to need is some dill. So, as fans of the channel know, we are big fans of dill here. We get our dill inspiration from Moses, actually. Moses the jeweler. He had a short stint in basically doing a cooking channel alongside his watch selling shenanigans on TikTok and whatnot. Um, he had a short stint. I don't really think he came back from it. He tried it out for a little bit. Um, he made tacos that smelled like an old woman, and then got a lot of feedback from that, a lot of flack, and decided to, I guess, trash the whole production. I mean, it's a shame. He had a pretty good studio, had good lighting and all that. Um, but when your tacos smell like an old woman, it's hard to come back from that, right? Shout out, Kilgan. Shout out to all the old women out there. We're not dissing you here, but when it comes to tacos, if your taco smells like you and you're an old woman, that's not a good taco. Anyway, so let's go ahead and finally chop up some dill here. And don't worry, OC, this is not going to take 3.5 hours to chop. Hopefully, it's only going to be 2 hours today. That's pretty good and chopped. Again, sorry if the camera's shaky here. I think that's fine, to be honest. Let's go ahead and put that off to the side. And we'll use that here in a minute. But in terms of what else we need to do for this tzatziki sauce is we're actually going to use a bit of garlic. And another big component of the sauce is actually just a lot of olive oil. So I was reading up on this prior to doing this stream again, and some people, some real Greeks, Yogan, like the only Greek that can be on this channel right now is Mathis. So Mathis, if you're watching, man, I will drop the link for you. But otherwise, this is a Logan Hall and only certified Greek stream here. But anyway, so what we'll do is I'm gonna actually drop this garlic clove into our little food processor here, and I'm gonna give it just a little bit of olive oil to start with. But then I'm actually going to stream in some olive oil from the top as well. And basically, we don't want really any chunks of garlic in here necessarily. This is more just to kind of blitz all the garlic together. Sorry, the table is not long enough for me to actually get all of this in the frame here. So again, I will just kind of plop it down here for just a second so that you can see that. I did have a lid going here, and here it is. There it is. Now the hard part of this is getting it to lock. There we go. It's on puree. There we go. And again, I'm going to stream in some oil here as we do this as well. It goes in pretty slowly. It's more just like a drip. Let's check where we're at. It's still pretty separated. I'm actually curious. I'm going to pull the table a little bit closer so that I can actually put this on the table. And I'm going to put you guys over here. It's still pretty separated. So what I want to do, I think I literally give you no room on this board here. I'm going to get a better one. Let's go ahead and put this back. It's still fairly separated. So let's do this. Let's add in a little bit more garlic. Sorry, a little bit more olive oil. We'll stream that through the top. I think we're getting somewhere now. I think that's closer to what we want. Yeah, so there's not as many bits of garlic left. The garlic has kind of incorporated into the olive oil here. So we want about a third cup of olive oil. Again, that's just based on what I was reading. And I know I'm not using Greek olive oil. This is more Italian or whatever, but it's fine. Who do we have in the comments here? Doc Mick in Florida, and we have Michael W. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Yep, that's everybody right now. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you guys coming back because again, it's been a minute since I've been streaming here, and I decided that the weather has finally cooled down enough to where it's actually a bit more bearable to be out here. And I just realized I actually don't have my fan. The fan really, really helps. So anyway, we just made sort of the garlic, and like the olive oil mixture there. We've already kind of sliced up or not sliced up, but we grated the cucumber here. So this will all be part of the tzatziki sauce here. But again, there's definitely some moisture coming out of here. You guys probably can't see this all that well, but again, the salt is doing its magic here. It's pulling out pulling out the moisture. Um, so what we'll do is, I think that's actually fine to go ahead and start to basically strain. So what we want to do is we want to strain all of this cucumber. There's probably better ways to get all this out, but I'm just using my hands right now. And now we just want to squeeze this. We just really want to squeeze all the moisture out of the cucumber. So again, I'm kind of going up against the wall of the strainer here. Again, it's more traditional to use something like a cheesecloth or just like a kitchen towel. You know, you can definitely do that too. I'm just using my hands, a bit of pressure, force here. We're letting this all drain. Strain and drain, baby. All right. I think we got most of that out. So we don't want any of the liquid here, so I'm just going to pour this out. And we're going to just put all this back, the strained cucumber back into the bowl. And I have about 1 cup's worth of Greek yogurt in here. You can definitely size this up. You can definitely do more, like 2 cups if you want. But I actually had a limited amount of Greek yogurt for this exercise here, so I'm going to be a little bit more limited. But we do have our dill here, so we're going to go ahead and put our dill in there as well. And then what we'll do is we'll put our garlic and olive oil there. Let's add a little bit more salt. And something that, is, I guess, less traditional, but apparently in sort of the New Age Greek culture, you can also include some mint in here as well. So I'm going to grab some mint from my garden. All right, I don't have a lot of mint here, but I've got a few leaves. And I'm actually going to put you guys down here so that you don't get too wobbly on me. You should really try to like to bundle these up and almost like roll them up. But again, you don't want too much mint. If you had to have, say, 2/3 dill and 1/3 mint, I think that's a good ratio to use here. And we need a whisk. So I'm going to go grab a whisker. All right. Looking at so again, I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is our sauce that we're making. Let's taste. Definitely could use more olive oil and a lot more salt. Much, much better. Yep, so I'm happy with that. So that is our first phase of the tzatziki sauce. Something else we're going to make is basically what's called a harissa yogurt sauce. And before I move on, let's see if there's any other comments here. Who do we have in the chat? We have Brody. Hey, Brody, what's going on, brother? Logan, what is the ratio of prep time to cooking? That's actually a good question. So usually what happens is before I do these streams, I will prep for anywhere between an hour to 3 hours. Um, so for this particular stream, I did a lot of the like the seasoning and like the marination of the chicken overnight. So I spent maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes last night just getting all that prepped. And then about an hour before this stream, I did a lot more, prep as well. I, basically got all the veggies out. I cleaned them. I just, and like it takes a moment like to sort of prep all this, this table and everything and get the grill fired up. So I would say I've probably spent about an hour and 30 minutes on prep just for um, this, version of grill streaming today. But anyway, the second sauce we're making is sort of a harissa uh, yogurt sauce. Now, you might be asking, what is harissa? Harissa is sort of a Middle Eastern sort of think, a Moroccan, Lebanese, sort of a chili pepper, chili paste type of sauce. And this is really good for really sort of any kind of Middle Eastern, uh, you know, like here's the thing. Every sort of culture has their own version of like a chili paste or chili sauce. Um, and this just happens to be sort of what it would be for the Greeks, sort of the Middle Eastern, Lebanese, Moroccan, even sort of North African, type of stuff going on here too. But one thing we want to add to this is just a little bit more garlic, actually. So we're going to grate this garlic, and I just have one clove here. So I only want to crack it just enough to where I can actually peel away the sort of the papery skin. But I don't want to crack it so much so that it's not going to have integrity to be, peeled here, right? We don't need the cucumber in this one, so I'm going to get that piece out. And what we'll want to do, we'll also want to add a bit more salt. There's also a few other kind of specialty spices that I'm going to be using today. This is, yeah. So there's something called an Aleppo pepper, and this is a really good, just get a different type of pepper that you may not normally see in sort of Western food, but We also have sumac. Sumac is also another really great spice there. And then we also have za'atar. So again, we're not going too crazy on these, but and you know what, I will add in a little bit of olive oil here too. So let's mix this around, and this is basically going to serve as the as sort of the foundation for our pita bread. So when we actually grill the chicken and everything, this is what we're going to put down first after everything is grilled and all that. So let's taste. Oh, that's delicious. You know, there's just, you know, very subtle heat, but it's very sort of exotic heat, you know, which I like. I will add a little bit more salt. Yep, that's great. Okay, so we have our two sauces made, our tzatziki, and then we have our sort of harissa yogurt sauce. I'm gonna so again, these sauces do better when they've been you know, chilled and sort of fermented for a while. So I'm gonna break these guys back out towards the end. Um, but again, I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the fridge, and then we'll break them out later. Okie doke, guys. So let me check the chat real quick. Let me see. Hey, we have Ryan Singer. What's going on, Ryan? Good to see you, brother. Thank you for the support as always. So we've taken care of all of the sort of the spice stuff, right? We actually now just want to get straight to the grilling part, right? So we're not going to be quite grilling the chicken just yet, but we want to grill our basically our veggies real quick. So kind of what I had envisioned here, you know, and where I got sort of, you know, the inspiration for this dish today was I was just browsing, you know, TikTok and, you know, Reels and all that. And I saw this sort of like, you know, just like the Middle Eastern sort of, you know, street food, street carts, you know, them making, you know, a lot of their food and whatnot. You know, and that got me thinking, you know what, I should do some, you know, some type of Middle Eastern Greek uh, you know, food here today. But I just want to make sure. Man, these things look so similar. But you know what? That's fine. What I'm gonna do. So we're basically gonna make these into medallions. So you can also cut it sort of like, you know, a long way too. You know, and that's actually made what I. You know what? I will do that just so that I can tell the difference between each one here. So we don't need the ends, but I will keep those. So this is definitely the cucumber. Again, if I can get sort of like those seeds out, like I will, just because I think they become pretty mushy if you don't take them out. But the idea is we're going to grill all of this. And we're basically going to kind of just chop it all up at the end. Um, think of a like a chopped cheese sandwich where you know, I mean, it's not so much cheese, but it's more you basically have just like a bunch of stuff. It's all chopped together, and that's what we want to do for all of these veggies, all of these um, peppers. Again, I have a few different peppers here. I have some long green pepper. I don't know. It's sort of like a banana pepper type of thing. I don't even know. Um, but then we have bell pepper here. So I'm basically just getting everything ready for us to do the initial grilling of the veggies. We'll do the chicken here towards the end because we don't necessarily want to do like any cross contamination. You know, we do the chicken first and then the veggies. You know, I would rather do the veggies first than the chicken. We also have a yellow bell pepper. And we also have some tomatoes here. I'm gonna kind of, you know, grill half of these, but then also leave half of them just as is, and we'll kind of dice those up. So I'm just focused on the outer skin part for these first few. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to toss these guys out. And I want to use this bowl to basically throw everything into these. And a bit of red onion too. Can't forget that. How do I want to cut this? Yeah, I'll go straight down the middle. Now we can do some seasoning here. So again, let's hit it with some olive oil. And quite a bit because there's quite a bit here. I'm also going to do a generous helping of salt. Let's do the sumac again. Aleppo pepper. And the chard. And I'm just going to use my hands, honestly, to mix all this up. But we ideally want to get all of this covered. And I'm already seeing some great coverage here, so that's good. I'll hit it just a little bit more olive oil and a little bit more salt. And we are ready to put these guys on the grill. So only 40 minutes in, into our stream, and we finally have some grilling action. So what I'll do, we're sitting at about 400 right now, which is actually perfect. And I'm going to put you guys on this side. I find that if I put you guys in the sun, my phone tends to shut down quite a bit, or quite easily, rather. All right. Clean up the surface. I want to open this up because we do want to get, our flames back. And I'm going to go grab my other oven mitt. I'll be right back. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start to grill. Finally, once again. Now, I'm someone who likes like a crispy veggie. So these guys probably are not going to stay on too long, honestly. And I probably will have to do this in 2 different batches, just given the sheer size here. Well, I may be able to get all this. Hold on. I can get most of it off. I think there will be some that I have to save for another trip. Yeah, guys, check it out. Got quite a good spread going here. Okay, I will close this up for just maybe a minute. Honestly, again, I want the char, I want the grill marks, and like the char flavor, but I still want to keep it nice and crunchy, if possible. So, all right. Start flipping these guys. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty good. Color there. Yeah, a very good color there. I like that. Nice color there too. All right, we're going to close it up again just for another maybe 30 seconds. Actually, let's pour some of this on. Got some nice flame action. How's the phone doing? Yeah? Yeah, you guys can see. There's a few more comments here. I will answer those in just a second. But let's go ahead and get these guys off. And I'll just put them back in the same bowl. It's hard to get a grip on these. Oh no, we lost the pepper. That was a sacrificial pepper, guys. Sorry. That basically burnt to a crisp. I'm not using that. So these are still nice and crunchy, which is good. That's what we want. I'm gonna let that one stay around just a little bit longer. And then I have a few more that didn't make it the first time. So we'll let these guys ride. But this is what we have so far. Check it out. Nice charred veggies here. So we're just about ready to flip again. This guy's probably good now. No, he still needs a little bit of time. I don't want too much char on these tomatoes. It's like they're naturally very watery. And there goes one of them. If if you leave them too long, they either just turn into the actual papery sort of skin, or not papery, but they basically just turn into like a skin that they have, and there's really not much else. So these tomatoes I'm going to take out if they don't go through the grates. Save that guy. All right, this guy has to. So we'll give that just a little bit more time. And in the meantime, I'm going to clear off my cutting board here. Because we're basically just going to chop all this up. And this is going to be sort of my, sort of the topping, or well, yeah, it's sort of topping to like all this, chicken basically. So these guys have some good color on them. Maybe not as much color as like the first time around, but that's okay. I do want to preserve sort of the crunchiness here. See, that just got really mushy there for that tomato, but that's all right. I'm going to clean this off in preparation for the chicken. And now I'm going to close this up so that we can get back up to temperature. But now I'm going to go ahead and get the chicken, and then we'll cook that. Some chicken. All right, so we're a little over 400, maybe 450, which is perfect. Given that these will likely stick, I am going to spray this with a little bit of cooking spray. And away we go. So we'll close that up. I'm going to wash this pan real quick. I'll be right back. All right, we have a nice clean pan for that later. What we can do now is we can actually just chop up all these veggies here. So that'll take a little bit of time here. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm just going to dump all this out. And I'm thinking that chicken, you know what? I will check it on it one more time before we start to get the chopping here. I don't want it to be too charred on one side. So let me go back and get my guards real quick. Okay, I'm going to keep you guys over here, but I'm going to just be flipping the chicken a little bit. Okay, that chicken's all right. I think it'll take a little bit of time for them to really get a char. I just wanted to make sure they weren't going to stick too easily um, to the grapes. So before we get into chopping here, I think I do owe you guys some comments to be read. So who do we have? We have OC. Let's see. Doc Mick upvoted. Thank you, brother. Life is much better in the sun. Hey, thank you, OC. I appreciate that. It, it is, but at the same time, I'm not going for a well done lobster tan like you have, OC. I'm not one that can just sit in the sun for hours and hours. Like I just don't do that. It's just not something that's all that fun to me. But I know that you enjoy it, and many others do too. Some of those seeds out. But again, our goal for this part is just to get this really nice and chopped up. Again, sort of like a chopped cheese. But if I had to rename this stream, I guess it would be sort of a Greek Middle Eastern chopped cheese pita type of thing. There will be some cheese involved. I do have some feta that I will add to this. So I'm just going to keep chopping this until I can't chop no more. So OC, just for you to set your alarm clock here. I might get done chopping at about 2 a.m. this morning. So just be ready, okay? For those of you that are still watching, I hope you guys enjoyed OC's stream. OC came back. OC came back yesterday. Had a really nice stream there. I'm going to stand up for this. But yeah, really, really good stream from OC. Good humor. CQ was on. CQ is always cool. Me, OC, and CQ will be in Dubai in just a few. Uh, yeah, it's like a month or two from now. Um, so that's exciting. That'll be a lot of fun. Uh, and guys, make sure you tune in because there will be a live camel grilling. Okay, I will be grilling live camel humps uh, live from Dubai. So we don't have an official date yet. You know, we're still working with the local authorities on, you know, what is what is actually permissible. But anyway, that'll be a fun time for sure. Okay. I will probably chop this up a little bit more, but I do want to check on the chicken. Getting some nice char there. Yeah, there we go. That's what we want, guys. Yeah, and honestly, it's just easier with the gloves. But anyway, yeah, Dubai will be great. We have a small but mighty crew coming. I can't give any details as to where we're staying or what we're doing or when, because that'd be against OC code. We don't want any trolls coming. Sorry, Dr. Bob. You know, this is going to be sort of a trip for the bros. But this is starting to look pretty chopped to me. And where we see these bundles of seeds, I'm just taking that out because we don't necessarily want to be chomping on that. I think that's pretty good and chopped, honestly. I mean, we could go a little bit finer, but I'm pretty happy with that for now. I'm gonna go wash my hands as we wait for this to wrap up. So this is a sort of a lemon squeezer or sort of a citrus squeezer. Something I forgot to do earlier was put some lemon in the in the tzatziki sauce. Now, and I'll here. Let me actually point it back to me real quick. I will say, StreamYard did make it a little bit easier to flip cameras. Um, so let's see. Hold on, there's a comment. Lucha, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother. It's been a minute. 85 minutes of chopping go. Yeah, hey, you know, this channel, only exists for one reason, OC. It's to set world YouTube. Well, okay. So let's start with YouTube. YouTube record chopping times, right? I mean, it's not how quickly can I chop something. It's how long can I chop something for, right? And I'm currently in the leaderboard for that. Um, so anyway, that's what's going on there. I may have to reheat some of this stuff up. And I can actually uh, use this type of thing to do that with. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I was talking about this a little bit earlier, but again, I didn't necessarily go anywhere, for all these months. I just didn't want to be like cooking in this, godforsaken heat, right? I mean, it's actually fairly reasonable today. It's in sort of the low 80s today, like 83, something like that. But down here in the South, it gets, summer days, 96, 97, like 100 degrees is not, uncommon, right? And for my own safety, I decided not to do, a lot of streaming during the summer. But that's when a lot of grilling happens, right? OC cooks, 17 hot dogs and 20 burgers a day. And so for him, I'm like he's already, gotten to like the maximum burntness, not from his food, but from his skin. I mean he's already gotten the maximum tan possible. So he's like, fuck it, I can be out here. I can, I'm like, it's not like I'm gonna get, eat even more cooked, right? I mean, I'm already, cooked to the gills, right? Cook, cooked to the gills, OC. Anyway, let's go back over here and check on our chicken one more time. Um, and I forgot to flip that around. Sorry. Back triple. Trusty gloves. Fireproof gloves. They're definitely getting there. I think I probably could have shaken off some of the marinade a little bit. Um, Pretty good. I will get a, honestly, that was kind of dumb. I don't know if that was done or not. But I did manage to taste a little bit of the chicken. Um, if I die after the stream, guys, you know why? I had undercooked chicken. Um, but let me get a probe real quick and just see where these guys are at. See how our buddies are doing. It took me a while to find this. 54, 154, 155, 158. Oh, thank goodness. So the one that I had a bite of was actually done already. These are almost on the money. So just another few minutes on that. But guys, believe it or not, we are almost done here. Basically, all we need to do is reheat some of these veggies a little bit. We're also going to, so again, to again, like to everybody's dismay. I did not make my own pita bread. I just bought mine from the store. And they already do a pretty good job, right? And if I were to go and make my own pita, it would take another 20 odd steps, right? Four in the chat here. I think that's a record. Let's see. Any more comments? No. No, that's no worries, guys. This show isn't built off of comments. It's built off of delicious food, right? So anyway, we'll give the chicken just a little bit more time. I did bring out the sauces again. So again, this is going to be our base layer when we put this on. Then we'll put the chicken on, the veggies on. I do have some feta as well. One thing I could be doing actually, I do have some parsley here. So OT, to set a timer on your phone for 2 hours. And when your timer's up, I'll be done shopping. I think that's pretty good. I will add a little bit more Harissa to this. Again, it's basically just a Middle Eastern version of a chili garlic paste. Which is delicious. I think that chicken is probably done. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys this. Well, no, you guys can watch me. It's not a private matter. My only concern is just the phone over. Let's see. Where did I put my? Here. All right. These guys are done. Look at that. Nice with chard. Nice charring there. Now, one question I get is, Logan, oh my gosh, that's a lot of food. You know, how do you eat all that food? Um, so when I do this type of thing, I actually end up, you know, kind of using it like for meal prep during the week. So I made a lot more chicken than I actually need for this particular meal. Um, but I will use the chicken for some, you know, for some lunches during the week and things like that. But I also have some hungry neighbors. You know, and sometimes I'll share my food with them too. But let's heat up this pita just for like literally 30 seconds, just so that it can kind of flatten out a little bit. I'm going to kill the heat. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to position you guys over here just for, oh, you know what? I actually need to use the heat to heat up some of these veggies again. Let me put the veggies on real quick. It's probably good enough for my needs. A little bit more. Yeah. So I'm going to put this on. And I'm going to leave you guys there just for a moment. Um, I need to get a plate to put all this on. So I'll be right back. Got our plate. And we are just about ready to assemble. Um, so what I'll do, put the pita down. And we're going to start off with our kind of yogurty uh, harissa type of spread here. More of that. And I think I will put the veggies down first. I have them finishing in the um, grill here. Let me get those down. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this off camera here. All right, but I put some veggies down here. Now we're going to pull off some of this chicken here. Let's see here. I've got room for one more piece of chicken. And one thing we forgot to do earlier was put a little bit of lemon in the tzatziki sauce. So that's why I brought my juicer out. Hit it with a little bit of salt and a little bit more olive oil. And off camera, I'm going to be adding this to my meal here. I will also crumple a little bit of feta. Oh, I haven't opened this yet. And sorry if I'm blocking the view here. Finally, to crown everything off, bit of parsley. And that is my rendition or addition of, again, this isn't purely Greek. It's not purely Lebanese or Middle Eastern or anything, but basically just a nice kind of pita, grilled veggies, grilled chicken type of wrap type of thing. So again, guys, if you enjoyed this, actually, sorry, it's been a while since I've done these streams. I need to take a bite and do a taste test. How could I forget, right? It's a big boy here. Mm. That is delicious, guys. Mm. That is wonderful. So, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, let me know, right? If you guys kind of keep me going here and you guys encourage me to keep, doing this, right? So if you learned something, if you liked it, please give a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next stream. All right. Whoop. Got a little bit of sauce on my face. Sorry. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.